The New York Giants deliver a stunning 27-22 win over the Green Bay Packers in London. And David Turner, former NFL scout, and I are going to break down how they did it, what they did, and what it means going forward for this Giants team. Coming up next on the LockedOn Giants podcast.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily New York Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Giant fans, today's episode of the Locked On Giants podcast is presented by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 10 times the amount of your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That's prizepicks.com, promo code Locked On. All right, Giant fans, welcome to another edition of the Locked On Giants podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast family, your team every day. I'm Patricia Traina, and I am joined, as always, on the day after a game by David Turner, former NFL scout. And we are here, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about a 27-22 New York Giants Week 5 win over the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. A really solid win with a lot of stuff that I think we're going to both like to talk about. David, as always, great to see you back. Hope you aren't too worn out from getting up early, watching the game, but certainly enough to get us all excited about the direction this franchise is headed in.
It was an early morning out here on the left coast, as Gettleman used to say. It was definitely a 6 o'clock a.m. wake-up call, which usually on Sundays does not happen. But, it was well worth getting up and seeing the boys compete so hard across the pond and do their thing. It was a very – I'm not going to say I wasn't surprised. If you listen to Matt Sports Talk this week, my show, I did not pick them to win this game with all the injuries at receiver and with Daniel being dinged up and everything. Like, that was something I was, skeptical of. But, man, we are going to have fun talking about what we saw on the field today.
We are indeed. And you know what? Let's start with the offense because no receivers again. Kenny Golladay didn't make the trip. No Kadarius Toney. Sterling Shepard, we know, is on IR. Who am I missing? I'm missing it. There's so many. Galladay, Shepard.
Waddell Robinson.
Robinson wasn't ready to go. But Darius Slayton stepped up after, and he started off slow. He had that miscommunication, but he went on to be the Giants' leading receiver, 6 catches out of 7 targets, 79 yards, a long of 26. He stepped up. Marcus Johnson, 3 of 3 for 35 yards. He was the guy they called up from the practice squad. David Sills, 2 of 2. Richie James, 2 of 2. These guys are catching the ball when they are throwing the ball. I mean, they're not spectacular. They're not household names, but they're getting the job done. David, is it the talent, or is it the scheme, or is it a combination of the two?
Well, you know what? I think it's more what I saw today was more scheme than talent. And then there was a couple catches that were just want-tos. There was a couple that made Galladay, not Galladay, I apologize. Hold on. I was looking at a different page because I wanted to bring up a different point when you were talking. So I apologize. I didn't have that up. But when you're talking about the receivers, you're looking at Slayton just had a will to catch. Stills had a will to catch. Both those guys really caught balls that maybe they shouldn't have caught at times. And, I believe it was Slayton caught a ball and then turned it upfield for a key first down, not, just not going down. So, those were things that, you need to be gritty. You need to be grimy. You need to be able to, make plays you're not supposed to make at this point in time when you're, trying to come up and make a name for yourself. You're not a first round talent. What I like to see and what I hope they incorporate more was the tight ends. the tight ends got involved this week and really made some passionate plays for him. Bellinger and Myrick only got one shot, but that 4-yard catch, I think it was for a first down, or it was a second and made the third down short. It was right there. It was a key catch. And I noted it in my notes, was like, that was a key catch for that kid. As well as, like I said, Bellinger, 2 catches for 22 yards, 11, both of them, I think, were 11 yards. And I want to say one of them came on a key third down. So keeping drives alive. So, those are things that I think we're starting to see those wrinkles that need to come out, because you don't have your talented receivers that you can go to. You got to work your role players in. And today they did. I mean, how many different people got balls and targets today? I want to say it was like eight people got targeted today. And I think all 8 caught a ball. So, when you don't have your core 4 or core 3 receivers, right, they're out, and you can work in eight people and they all catch and make contributions. I mean, we threw the ball, 26 times today for 217 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just awesome. That's the kind of production you want from this kind of offense right now. You don't want to be a 300, 400 passing yards offense, because that's just not the capability. We can't throw the ball around the yard 35, 42 times. This is perfect, right in that 26, to 28 mark. That's a good honey hole for us to be at, and to be able to dominate the run game and go from there. So I really was impressed. Again, we started slow. We did 2 3 and outs, right? And I think I was texting you, like, run the dang ball, run the dang ball. And then the next series, here comes Shaq. Here comes Barkley. He rips off, like, a long run. And that third possession, we had eight plays, went down, field goal. Then the middle part of this, I loved it. Drives 4, 5, and 6. We had 11 plays, 15 plays. And we had touchdown, field goal, touchdown. So that right there is what again, we got to chop wood. We're a running offense. And that doesn't mean the quarterback's a running quarterback. That means we're a running offense. Breida had some nice runs today. Obviously, Barkley did his thing today, and which he needs to do each and every week, right? Like, this is it. But when you see that 8, 11, 11, 15, all in the middle of that first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, right in the middle there, chewing up time, keeping that Green Bay offense on the sidelines, and then finishing those with scores, field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown. That's what we need to do. That's us. That's how we're going to continually stay on the top and win.
Absolutely. And you talk about, balance. The Giants ran the ball, all right, technically 31 times, but one time was Jamie Gillen having to run when he was on that safety. So we'll say 30 times. We'll call it 30. They threw 27 times. That's a balanced offensive attack, and 125 yards total running the ball. Actually, if we take away the minus 3 yards from Gillen's run, it's actually 128. 217 yards offense, efficient, really efficient. Saquon Barkley, 13 carries, 70 yards, 5.4 average. Daniel Jones, let's talk about this now. This was kind of interesting. Now, in the first half, Daniel Jones, I want to say, ran the ball. Let me see. I'm looking it up right now. He ran the ball one time for 3 yards. Now, I'm going to throw this out here because I wrote this and I said, if this was Dable and Mike Kafka's thinking, then it's brilliant. They didn't have Daniel Jones moving around a whole lot in the first half. And I wondered if perhaps that was because they wanted to lull Green Bay into thinking, yeah, Daniel's really limited. He can go out there and he can sling the rock if he needs to, but he can't really run it, because in the second half, he ran the ball 9 times, not to mention moving the pocket a little bit more than he was doing in the first half. I wonder if the Giants purposely waited till after the second half, so this way the Packers couldn't allow for to adjust.
I don't know if you play those kind of games, honestly, when you're playing Aaron Rodgers, because you got to, if you're going over there, that's an NFC game, you got to win it, right? And you're playing Aaron Rodgers overseas and you don't have receivers. I think they were letting Daniel kind of feel his way out and make sure he was ready to roll, and he felt good, and he took some hits. I mean, he took some hits in the first half in that pocket. I mean, that was apparent, right? Like, he got drilled a couple times. But I think Daniel started feeling better in the second half. And like you and I have talked about on the show, I think it was just a couple weeks ago, the second half offense for the Giants just is better. The first half isn't the most stellar first half. It's just okay. And then it seems like in the second half, their adjustments are coming into play and it's really working in their favor. We got to see the first half off or the second half offense in the first half sooner or later, but I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll take it because it's coming out with victories and W's on the back end. But that all being said, now I'm not a big proponent of Daniel Jones running. Especially when you have Tyrod Taylor, who's your backup. He's in concussion protocol, whatever. So, the other option was Webb coming in, and I was like, whoa, okay, we don't want to do that. But what I did like or what I would love to see is them doing half rolls with Daniel, moving the pocket a little bit. Don't just drop him back into the pocket. Design some rollouts for him, some fuller rollouts, but also some half rollouts. Just move the pocket a little bit. That interior offensive line is still struggling. He was still under fire today. They were bringing pressure from different angles. And this is a team that, in Green Bay, they don't always blitz, right? They're not a big blitzing team. And they were getting pressure on Daniel is still getting hit a lot. And again, this is game 5, right? We got 12 more to go. So for me, I would love to see them with his athleticism, move him out of the pocket a little bit more, give him some design rollouts, give him some opportunity to do half rolls, just to move the pocket a little bit. That might help this offensive line. And I'm not saying a ton, like I'm not saying a dozen of those a game. I'm saying like 3 or 4 a game, just to move the pocket and let the defense have to correct for it or know that it's coming or practice for those half rolls and stuff. Right now it's straight drop back or him getting creative with his legs. So, that's just something I would love to see to maybe help this offensive line out a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, overall, let me see. I don't think Daniel got hit. You mentioned he got hit a few times. Let me just see what the final stats were. 1 sack, 4 quarterback hits. I mean, that's the official, stat book, but there were some times when the pressure did come through, and actually a couple of sacks I think were wiped out by penalties, if I'm not mistaken. So, including one that came through Andrew Thomas, who's been pristine with his pass blocking. But overall, you just see this offense kind of clicking together. We talked. You were texting me. You were saying, "Oh, the play calling in the beginning." I don't know if it's just because they were off to a slow start or whatnot, or maybe Kafka's got to develop a feel for how things are going. But as they went on, I mean, they certainly got into a rhythm with everything, and they were firing on all cylinders.
Well, they just got to stay disciplined in running the ball. Early on we saw some stuff that was cutesy, and it's like, man, establish the run first and then do your cutesy stuff. I'm not a cutesy guy at all. Y'all who've listened to me or listen to my show, y'all know I am about running the dang football and getting a field, right? Like, I'm not hiding that at all. Like, even the double reverse that scored today, as soon as they ran it and I saw the defender in the backfield, I'm like, oh, here we go, right? I literally rolled my eyes and put my head back, and then I heard the announcer say touchdown because I was just like ready to hear sack, and now we're out of field position. Like, I was just so ready to hear that. That being said, in those positions, I prefer just to see us line up, be physical, and run the football, run some rub routes, use the tight ends because we're not utilizing them in the red zone too much just yet. I think we have some really nice options that we can still develop this offense into. And now, like I said to everybody, week 5 through 17 is when we're really going to start to know this offense. Where did we get going? When Saquon busted that one run, right, in like the 4th or 5th, or no, I'm sorry, about the 6th or 7th play of the game, that's when it was like, okay, see what we're doing? Let's keep doing that. And that's exactly what we need to do. That's our identity. I'm not saying run on first down like the poor Atlanta Falcons. They run 73% of the time on first down and over 67% of the time to the left. And you watch that game today, and it was just dialed in. Like, everybody knew it was going to the left on first down and it was going to be a run. It's like, yeah, let's not be that. Let's not do that. Let's not create us into that. Okay. But at the same time, we can run the ball on first and second down, get 4 or 5 yards, give us a nice 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3 type situations. That would be perfect. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. All right. We've still got a lot more coming up on the show. We're going to talk about the amazing job done by the defense, which included a shutout in the second half of Aaron Rodgers. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about the identity that's starting to take shape of this team. That's all coming up here on the LockedOn Giants podcast. We're going to take a quick break and be right back after this. Hey, Giant fans, playing daily fantasy based on player projections has never been easier when you visit prizepicks.com. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they go on to score more or less than their prize pick projections, you will win up to 10 times the amount of your money on any entry. There's no competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks is currently operational in over 30 states and in Canada, and they offer projections on every sport. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less, and Prize Picks offers safe and fast withdrawals. So download the Prize Picks app today or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. Don't forget, that's promo code LOCKEDON at sign up at prizepicks.com. All right, Giant fans, welcome back to the LockedOn Giants podcast. A very happy LockedOn Giants podcast here on a Monday. We are with former NFL scout David Turner. We're breaking down the New York Giants win over the Green Bay Packers 27-22 in London. And David, we got to talk about this defense. I mean, they shut out Aaron Rodgers, the Aaron Rodgers, in the second half of this game. They just did a number on that offense. I mean, and, you know, the beauty part of it is the way Wink Martindale adjusted throughout the game, you know, between rolling safeties up high to help the cornerbacks, especially when they lost Adoree Jackson to an injury, getting home with 4 guys on the pass rush, you know, getting pressure with 4 guys. I thought it was just, you know, a brilliant job by Wink Martindale. What did you see, you know, in terms of the adjustments he made in the flow of the game, and what did you like about his game plan?
First off, did you notice how much Thibodeau influenced this game?
I did.
Like it's not going to be in the stat sheet.
Nope.
You're not going to see it. Not the level of his influence on this game, but from the jump, he was getting in there. He was influencing throws, arm angles. He was influencing running backs and people coming out of the backfield. Like by the third quarter, they were using 2 and 3 people to block him. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like and then he got tips. I mean, this kid was everywhere making tackles in the backfield. He's only going to get better. I'm telling you, by the end of this year, that kid is going to be amazing. Like you watched him today, which was really like his second real NFL game, right? Like today was really it, number 2 for him. And boom, you're seeing him getting feel for what the coaches are asking. He's getting comfortable in that role they're dividing out for him. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't on a pitch count. He played a lot. So he was able, his conditioning's getting there. Him and Lawrence really were like the 2 up front that were like good goodness. Like let's go. Like Lawrence was pushing people around. Like I texted you in the first half, he was pushing the pocket. He was getting so close. Him and Aaron were talking to each other. He's like, I'm gonna get you. And then finally came up with a big sack there, you know, on a real key down. And it was just like, here we go. You know, like once we get Leonard Williams back in the fold and Ojulari gets in there, and this defense really can get that chemistry going. But we're seeing the corners flying up and tackling. We're seeing the Wink Martindale attitude take over with these defensive backs even. They're coming up. They're playing the run strong. We're not seeing a lot of single tackles, right? Love laid a tattoo on the freaking back at one point. I think it was Aaron Jones was coming in the hole, and here comes Love out of nowhere. Boom. And I was like, whoa, where did you come from? You know, he just flew in there and threw himself into the way. It was really a lot of fun to watch. And this is the kind of swarming defense that he likes to play. Wink Martindale likes to play. And I loved watching it. Like I knew it was going to come to fruition. We got some injuries. We still need to nurse it back. But the more these guys, this defense works together, the more Wink can do. And I think you saw that today. Like you said, you saw the rolling of the safeties. He's trusting his corners on man-to-man coverage a little bit more. You know, old man Cobb still got off, though. He almost got 100 yards, which I love because I love Randall coming out of school. He was one that I really enjoyed. I love watching his college tape, and you know, I just love that he had a good day today. I'm always going to root for Randall Cobb, even if he's going up against a G-man. But that being said, I think what you're seeing here is what Wink wants to do. He wants to develop this swarming team that you don't know who's coming from where, what coverage they're in. He's disguising things left and right with the way he's rolling. He left a couple holes, which Aaron saw and picked apart. I mean, again, yeah, he shut him out in the second half, but still in the second half, they had a 14-play drive, you know, that led to downs, which was great because there's 2 tip passes in a row at the, you know, inside the 10 or inside the 12-yard line where they were to finish that drive. But that all being said, I mean, this is the, like I text you, this is the G-fence defense, baby. This is the G-fence defense. They're going to leave it swing and gate a little bit. They're going to give you some room. But when it's time to slam it shut in that red zone, we're seeing that the G-fence defense is coming to forward, and they're slamming that gate shut, and you're not getting through it when that field gets shorter. They're forcing you into field goal attempts. They're forcing you. You're not getting touchdowns. And in the second half, his adjustments have been really brilliant. Wink has been doing some great things in the second half of all season, not just this game, but all season. And he's handling the adversity with the injuries really well. And this team is responding. And I coined it, the G-fence, baby. That's
your thing. Yeah,
I'm telling you, we need T-shirts made up of the G-fence right now.
You need to trademark that expression first. But to your point, the Packers completed 4 of 10 on third down, 40%. The red zone, they were a little bit more effective. They were 2 or 3, 67%. But the defense, or G-fence, if we're going to call it that going forward, let's see. They were 0 for 1 on fourth down efficiency. The Giants outgained them in net yards, 338 to 301. The average play length was 4.9 for the Packers versus 5.7. So just a solid game for the G-fence, excuse me, despite the fact that they were missing, you know, no Leonard Williams, no Azeez Ojulari. They lost Adoree Jackson. You know, just overall better. But, you know, where are you seeing the biggest improvement in that G-fence? I mean, to me, I see it in the inside linebackers. Jalen Smith has been starting. He's been kind of, you know, a nice little I don't want to call him a Band-Aid, but he's been playing better, I think, than what they were doing earlier in the year. I like how they're deploying the safeties. And Dexter Lawrence, my gosh, that guy's a beast. He's just really picked it up in the absence of Leonard Williams. But where are you seeing the biggest improvement in this defense from week 1?
No, Smith today made some great sideline to sideline plays. You know, he knifed in there, used that speed that he does have, and he made some good plays there for sure. But like I said at the beginning, Thibodeau and Lawrence to me just dominated up. You know, just they were the force. You know, I mean, Williams is solid, Ellis is solid, but Lawrence is special, and Thibodeau is just special. You know what I mean? And when they were flying around doing their things, we really see great things happening up front, which is getting the quarterbacks off their spots, which is putting balls up, you know, premature throws when receivers aren't ready for it. But I think one big thing that we need to highlight today for defense, only 2 penalties caused first downs. Only 2 penalties cost first downs. So with the injuries, with the pressure of Aaron Rodgers, with, you know, all the stuff that's coming in with Green Bay that they bring, because they do bring the heat. They got talent on that side of the ball. The G-fence did not shoot themselves in the foot and keep them on the field and giving up first downs, only twice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's big. Like, for again, we're not a polished product. This isn't like when we had Strahan and OC and Tuck. Like, this isn't that yet. Okay, we're not finished. We're still building. So when the defense is, we're still putting planks up on the board here. We're still putting planks on the fence. You can't give your opponent, especially Aaron Rodgers, a bunch of first downs. And they didn't. Today they only gave up 2, which I'm really proud of them, because that's an area in which I know we need to get better. They're showing improvement. We saw it today. So that to me is a big kudos bar to Wink and the discipline of the players that are playing. When you see those penalties go for first downs, you're like, dang. And today was only 2 in an NFL game when the ball was, Aaron Rodgers. How many did he throw? He threw, Aaron threw 39 times today for 222 yards, and you only gave up 2 first downs with potential illegal, contact downfield or a pass interference or something, right?
They got away with a couple too. There was I think a face mask.
We're not talking about that.
Well, we got come on. All the times that the Giants would get nailed for that, but that's besides the point.
No, they did. They got away with, especially that face mask early in the game. Like, I saw the referee telling Aaron it was the ear hole. It wasn't. It was the face mask. So, those are the ones that, we did get away with a couple, but I just wanted to give them a little kudos because the discipline was there and we saw it really well today.
Yes, indeed. And that defense, like you said, imagine what they're going to look like once they have all the pieces in there. And, the injury to Adoree Jackson to me is a little bit of a concern because they're already down. They're missing Cordell Flott. Aaron Robinson was put on IR. But, credit to this coaching staff for getting these guys ready. I mean, it's like, we hear next man up. And then you hear coaches, kind of silently say, well, there's a reason why guys aren't starting, but everything like that. But, the thing, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next segment when we talk about the identity that this team is establishing. But the thing that I really love about this coaching staff is Dable, when he says, I trust these guys, he means it. And I'll give you an example. The Daniel Bellinger play, he was asked, okay, did you tell Bellinger it was okay to throw it if he saw fit, or did you tell him to strictly run it in? He gives these guys options. He lets them buy in and take ownership of what they're doing, and he trusts them to make the right decisions. And I'll be darned, the guys are responding. I mean, geez, and I'm feigning surprise here because naturally, if you're going to trust your players to do right by you, they're probably going to do right by you more times than not. And that's what Dable's getting at and getting out of this team. And I think that's, a very understated and underrated aspect of the job he's doing. We'll be right back, Giant fans, with segment 3. We're going to talk about the identity of the team because we're 5 weeks into the season and we're starting to see the identity. It's coming up right after this. All right, Giant fans, we have more coming up with David Turner as we discuss the New York Giants Week 5 win over the Green Bay Packers. But first, Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, but without the calories and without the sugar. Most Built Bars contain about 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein, and they taste great. Built Bar offers 9 amazing flavors in nut and nut-free variety, plus a rotating limited time offering of different flavors that changes up every so many weeks. So head on over to BuiltBar.com today and see what their current flavor lineup looks like. Use our special promo code LockedOn15 to save 15% off your first order. Again, that code is LockedOn15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com. All right, Giant fans, welcome back to the Locked On Giants podcast. Patricia Traina here with David Turner, former NFL scout, and we're breaking down the New York Giants win. Yes, win over the Green Bay Packers. The Giants 4-1. David, is this Giants team for real, or are they doing this on smoke and mirrors? Seriously, we're 5 games in. I know you have said in the past that it can take about 5-6 weeks to figure out what kind of team this Giant team is going to be. Where are they? What are you seeing, and what kind of identity are they building?
Grit, baby. Grit. That's the best thing to say about this team. They're winning in multiple ways. Like, they're finding ways to win. One thing that's consistent string through each win that they've had is the defense. The defense is being able to come together. Different people earlier in the year when the two kids were out at the pass rush, Leonard Williams, Lawrence, they were making the impact. Now we're still seeing Lawrence make the impact, right? But we're seeing Smith and Thibodeau start to emerge, right? And then when we get Ojulari back and Williams comes back, it'll be more impressive. We always talked about that front is going to be very impressive when it plays together and gels together. So, but right now you're seeing grit. They're willing to do whatever it takes to win. They're being selfless. Like they really are. It's like whatever we need to do to win. Look at Daniel Jones. I mean, that man's been battered and bruised and beat to pulp. And today his hand was all bloodied. And, he's trying to stay out there and win for his team. Saquon's running routes and catching balls, and it's whatever it takes to win. Dabo goes for 2 and gets it right in one of the wins. Like he's shown he's got a little riverboat gambler in him. So, it's do what you have to do to win right now. They're not going to be pretty, and that's fine. Like the G-men are fine with that. They're just like, you know what? We're not going to win pretty. Cool. We'll win ugly. You know why? The W's the same.
Yes.
Okay. So eventually you want to win pretty. You want to look like the Bills today. You want to just go out, dominate, and not look back, right? Like that's where you want to get to. But like Dabo did early in his years in Buffalo, you got to just teach your team to win and do what it takes to win. Don't look at your stat box and, just look at the W. The rest will figure out. Just get that W. The rest will clean up. The rest will correct. The rest we'll figure it out. And that's what he's got them buying in on, in my opinion. Both him and Wink understand it's about just get them used to winning. Because then when they're used to winning, they want to win. Like you always say locker rooms want to win, but I've been in losing locker rooms where they expect to lose and they don't really want to win. They just want to get out of it healthy and go home. It's not a want to win. Now, when you get them winning consistently and often, they want to win. So then they'll want to do more of the dirty work and they'll do more of what needs to be done to get the win each and every week for the team, for the organization. So when I say their identity is grit, I really mean it. I say it lovingly and actually enthusiastically because I love watching a gritty team play football. It's a running team. It's a defensive team. It's a team that's, not throwing it all over the yard. But when a receiver catches a ball, they're fighting for extra yards, or a tight end catches a ball, they're taking on 2 or 3 hits to stretch out and get that first down. Like, that's it. Like, that's football in a nutshell. And I get so excited. I mean, I just get all fired up about it. But that's the Giants' identity right now. And I think that's an identity they have to embrace for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how good they start looking, they got to be gritty because they got tough division to win. They have the NFC is not a pushover division or a conference. So, if they're going to want to be a playoff team come the end of this season and get into the dance, they're going to have to be gritty all year.
Definitely. Now, speaking of gritty, Daniel Jones, let's talk about him for a moment here because, a lot of people split on Daniel Jones. Excuse me. And I put out a question actually Sunday night on my Twitter account. I said, okay, how are we feeling about Daniel Jones after 5 weeks? And he's still got some people who say the jury is still out on him. You've got some people who he's starting to win over. Based on what you have seen, now put your personnel cap on here for a moment here. Based on what you have seen from Daniel Jones, could this guy theoretically be the franchise quarterback for this team in the future, or are you still not sold on him?
I've always been sold on him. Don't even go there. I've not been sold on the offensive line. I've not been sold on the receivers he's been given to throw to. I've not been sold on the run game. That the play calling. The last couple of years of play calling, I've been all over. So for me, I've loved him and his tools. And I told you when they got Debo, he was going to tailor this offense to fit him. And that's what you're seeing. Like, we don't have a full suit tailored yet for him, right? We're still tailoring the pants. So, we got to get the pants to fit right before we can get the jacket to fit right. The cuff length and all that stuff still not there. We're still figuring it out because I think coaches get enamored about how athletic he really is. And when they see him moving around and stuff, they're like, oh, let's utilize that. But also they got to understand he holds the ball a little bit too long in the pocket. They got to get that out of him. They got to get it out of him to like drop the ball to his waist when he's sitting in the pocket. There's a few things they still got to train him on, but he's getting better. And again, he's trusting his receivers a little bit more. Even look at this year. He went into this year thinking he was going to have Tony, Shepard, Galladay, right? And today he was in a game with Richie James, Sills, people who he might have 20 snaps with in preseason and in practice because the starters were the ones he took the most of the reps with, right? So, he's got a constant revolving door at that receiver position. It's hard for him to get, set there. I don't believe any of the tight ends on the team this year were on the team last year, or if they were, they
weren't. Well, Myrick maybe.
Right, Myrick maybe, but he didn't. How many reps did he have with Myrick last year? Right, so
not a lot.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you're seeing him have to work through these, timing issues, comfortability, knowing where he can put a ball. Like, there's some receivers, you can put on their back hip. And when they're running a crossing route, they prefer it on their back hip so they can catch it, put their foot in the right ground, let the defender fly by, and they spin and get out of there, right? And there's others that want that chest high right here, so when they catch it, they can duck and get hit by that safety. Like, you just got to know that about your personnel and about your people, so then you can put those balls where they are. You got to know who can climb the ladder and pluck the ball out of the air and not be scared, not get alligator arms, but they'll fully extend and go get it, versus the one that's going to slide to go get it, go down low and, make that catch. You don't know that when you don't practice with them, and you don't practice with them often, so that's another reason why it's hard for quarterbacks to have constantly new receivers all the time, because those nuances, and you're talking about the NFL. Don't get it twisted. We're not talking about a high school football game here. You're talking about the NFL, where windows are very, very small, and you got to know how to fit that ball in that window for that one receiver to go get it. So it's not an easy thing. So I applaud him for doing it. I think he is the franchise quarterback. Most people have been killing me for years saying it, which I'm fine with because I'm a confident individual. I could care less. Someone was trying to get me on social media today about something I said, and I was like, bro, you need to check the bio. I was like, you don't know who you're talking to, right? And that wasn't an arrogant thing, but he was just coming at me like, I was some chump on a bar stool. And it was just funny. He looked it up, and then he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm giving you a true opinion here on what you said, not just some chump, right? Yeah. But with Daniel, I feel the same way. I think there's a lot of people that don't know quarterback play, that don't watch quarterback play really intently, trying to suicide him for decisions that were play calling, line play, receiver rotations that aren't his call. He's doing the best with what he can. And if you give this kid a consistent offensive line, a healthy Barkley. Remember, 2 of the years, Barkley wasn't healthy, right? He was sitting on the bench for 2 of those years, and he was supposed to be a major part of that offense. Now you see Barkley running 70 yards today. Daniel Jones throwing for 217, no interceptions. This is what this offense is meant to be. Run first, play action pass, use his legs to get out of trouble, roll out, has very good arm talent. Like, you can go a long way with this kind of quarterback and this kind of offensive play. It's really built for playoffs. This is how you build to win in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, playoffs still a little too early to be talking that, but certainly if they keep, they're laying a foundation now, which, they can certainly build on, and they will build on that. So with that said, David, 5 games in, what does this team still need to do better in the next, they've got the bye week coming up, I think, in 3 weeks. What do they need to really work on and start to do better if they're going to really make a push and be relevant later in the season?
Continue to develop the tight ends, continue to develop this offense. Like I said, there's still stuff to work on, right? There's still stuff to work on, but we got to stop with the cutesy stuff in the first quarter, pound the rock, get after people, and establish your dominance on the offensive line. And then on the offense, continue to work your tight ends, figure them out right now while your receivers are hurting. Because I don't think that they're getting enough looks just by what I saw today. I think they could be really good for us in a lot of different pattern formations and different things to sneak them out of the backfield. Use that 12 personnel look to get them going a little bit in the pass game. I think it would be really fun. I think I think we saw that a little bit start today. I think Dabo's starting to figure that out, and Kafka's starting to figure that out. So that'd be good. On defense, it's all about getting healthy. Like if we can just get that defense healthy, I think it'll click, it'll Jones, it'll be really fun to watch. And as soon as we get them healthy as much as we can, I know we lost a couple people to the season and stuff, but if we get them healthy, we'll be, I think, a lot better. On special teams, I'm always going to bring up special teams because it's one of my things. I think Jamie Gillian is absolutely crushing it. I love watching him punt the ball. He is changing the field. He's giving the defense long fields. He's placing the ball in really good positions for coverage. I really see that Gillian is being underappreciated a little bit. People need to talk about him a little bit more for what he's doing. And obviously Graham Gano is Graham Gano. He's Mr. Steady Eddie and, hitting where he's told to. So both those guys are doing their job and they really should be celebrated. Special teams, we still need to hold the dang rush lanes a little bit better, but this week was better. But it's still not the integrity I'm looking for there. But again, you want to know, I think if we keep tailoring this offense and that defense gets healthy, it's going to get really, really fun 12 through 17.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's been great. The start that they're off to, I mean, people were saying, the Giants didn't really beat anybody. Well, yeah, now you can say they have. The Titans, even though that game could have gone either way, the Packers, they've got a big test next week against Baltimore, which the Wink Martindale revenge game, that should be a fun one. Jacksonville's been playing better. Seattle, doesn't look like they're the pushover. This team, if they could finish up 2-2, I would take it, and they're certainly off to a good start so far. So we'll see what the future brings, but certainly a lot of smiles so far this season to talk about. It's so nice talking about wins after, the last 2 years where we just sat there and it was like, what are you going to say week after week? At least now we can talk about the different ways that they're finding to win games and how they're growing as a team, as opposed to, they did the same thing that they did last week and they lost, so.
No, I'm with you. Last year was brutal because we kept seeing the same thing over and over again, and very little corrections were made, very little opportunities were given to certain players, and it was tough. But again, last year's in the rearview mirror. It's not even. We can't even see it anymore.
Yes.
Right. We're on to this year very firmly. Week 5 going to week 6. Very tough matchup against Baltimore. Baltimore plays tonight. We'll see how healthy they come out of the game tonight. They got a big division game against the Bengals, so we'll see how healthy they are coming out of that game. But yeah, it's going to be a tough battle. I mean, that is their defense is not that good. We all know it. We've seen them get run through, but that offense with Lamar Jackson with that new running back being healthy, they are putting up points. They are, and Wink is gonna want to win that game. Absolutely,
he is. He's going to bring every bag of. He's going to pull everything out of his bag of
tricks. It
tricks.
wouldn't surprise me. And I'll be honest right here. I'll say this, and I'm going on record. It wouldn't surprise me if Leonard Williams was healthy enough to play this week, and he sat him on purpose. Just so Baltimore's thinking about if he's going to play or not. And then, boom, shakalaka, he's bringing him in. And now here comes a whole new Wink Martindale up on his game right in Baltimore's face, baby.
I thought about that too, because I thought Williams was going to play this week. And, I actually said to somebody, I said, it would probably make more sense if they had him for Baltimore. And I said, I wouldn't be overly stunned if he didn't play, but, I thought he was trending in the right direction. But you know what? It's going to be fun. Hopefully we'll have a win to talk about next week. Again, I mean, always fun to talk about a win. And as we continue to see how this Giant team is developing, despite, it's missing some parts, but, it's functioning. The car is moving and it's moving in the right direction. So on that note, always good stuff with you, my friend. Appreciate it. Giant fans, we appreciate you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed today's Locked On Giants podcast. Don't forget, tomorrow is Twitter Tuesday. You know what to do. The information's in the show notes if you want to get a question in, or you can tweet me, obviously. Make sure you tag it Ask P Train, and we'll get him on Tuesday's show. So for David Turner, I'm Patricia Traina. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch you tomorrow.